Good morning. Talk 97.3 FM and 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sand Hills. It is time once again for another year of Mornings with the LeaderMan. I am Steve Leader Adams.
And I'm the LeaderMan's discombobulated sidekick, Matt Horsley. It is colder than a bureaucrat's heart out there, Steve. Wow.
Don't forget, of course, we are being seen around the world on the live video stream. That's available to you at talk973.com or on your mobile device using the YouTube app. Just put Mornings with the LeaderMan in there. Or you can use your browser and go to our website at talk973.com. The link is in the upper right, top middle of the page. Up in that upper right-hand corner is another little icon that says Listen Live. If you tap that from the website of talk973.com, you'll be listening to the program instantly. If you're on a mobile device just needing the audio, we suggest the TuneIn app, TuneIn, just like it sounds. It's free and available at your app store. When you get that, put WEEB into the search and then click the Listen Live icon that'll pop up there. Weather for us today here in the Sand Hills area. Well, the next time you'll see 40 degrees will be Sunday, and Monday will be pushing 50. How about that? Well, this week we're pushing a lot of cold at you. Sunny today. The freezing mark is the best we'll do. Then tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 16. So not as bad as today, but still, after it gets below 20, what do you care? Wednesday, if you're east of here, 95 and eastward, there's a chance you might see some snowflakes. A little chance you'll see them here because the low is going to form along the coast, go up the coastline, but it's just not, depending on the track of that low is depending on whether it shoves snow further west of the coastline. So mostly it'll be at the coast and up the eastern seaboard into New York, but here, and not so much unless things change, which they often do. But it will not be any accumulation of any snow. Right?
My poor daughter's headed back to Boone today, where it's 2 degrees right now. No snow though.
What's the difference between 2 there and 9 here? It's
about 7 degrees.
Yeah, about 7, but you'll never be able to tell it. Wednesday night, still a chance of, it'll be partly cloudy, slight chance of snow. Don't count on it. A low of 21 Thursday, mostly sunny with a high of 35. Friday, another freezing day with a high of 32. Saturday, we warm up 2 degrees to 34. And Sunday, that'll be the best day of the week probably. Partly cloudy, 41. Monday, we have mostly cloudy, chance of rain. High of 49, but that's a small chance of rain, just 20%. Right now around the Sand Hills, winds are calm, visibility 10 statute miles, humidity 73%, dew point 2, pressure 3059, it's clear, and 9 degrees currently here at Talk 97.3 FM and 990 AM WEEB. All right, it is 7:29 past the hour. Let's head on into morning sound bites. Let's see. Over there in California, they've legalized pot.
Can any good thing come from California?
So now you can be an illegal and get all the pot you want and government assistance that you want and just live the life off the taxpayer. And do it while you're high, man. Even and CNN, of course, being the bottom feeders they are, their guy Randy Kane from CNN covered the New Year's Eve from inside a pot bus in Colorado, where it's already legal to smoke there, and with the joint lit in her hand. Anyway, here is the... Oh, shut up, Napster. Get so tired of it. Screwing up every one of my first sound bites. Anyway, here is the stoned out Randy K reporting live from Colorado.
So a lot of people chose to come here, and this is how they celebrate New Year's Eve in Denver. All right, I hope they can still see me through your purple haze.
Does the bus go anywhere, Randy?
I feel like the bus is just standing there.
We're at a dispensary called the Medicine Man.
Denver.
See, this is my...
You got a little high.
I think I got a little high,
It's
Mike. I'm trying to remember where we are. Where am I?
We're at Medicine Man Denver, which is our official tour partner. Really great people.
Wow.
We're taking a road tour here shortly.
Oh, okay. We're going into
Randy.
the grow house, I'm told. So that's going to be interesting.
Randy,
Can I pick you
of course
anything,
you are.
Andy? Do you want me to pick something out for you? A nice plant?
Yes, I would like
just
some
wanna point
Chiba
out-
Chews, Sativa Chiba Chews. My favorite
I don't
thing in
know
the
what that
world.
Chiba-
Randy,
Chiba
dose
chews
yourself
are
properly.
Chiba chews are the best. What?
Yes, Sativa Chiba Chews. But dose yourself properly, Randy. We
They
don't
are
want
the
any
best.
trouble in 3 hours from you. Yes.
Randy, we'll check in with you.
We're gonna be really
I'm a
careful.
little worried about Randy.
I am
Okay.
not worried about Randy. Is Randy Kay like a notorious stoner that I don't know?
not
about?
at all. She's just very game to, report and go to the front lines on
Okay,
things.
Yeah, it's your quality reporting there from CNN. Let's get on the bus with potheads, and you see what happens. They get on the pot, and they can't shut up. Maybe that's a good thing for millennials because, they live their whole life between their eyeballs and the palm of their hand looking at that stupid phone, much like you do, Matt. And anyway, they at least they get some talking to one another. I'm not endorsing pot, by the way. I think it's one of the worst things that ever happened to mankind. And, if you want to sit in your house and do it, really don't care. But when you come out in the world with it, we got a problem.
It is amazing that was that much time on what's supposed to be a major news network. That segment.
Yeah. Well, it is tough to find stories between Christmas and New Year's because everybody's off. And I keep telling the network on Rush's show, I said every year he comes up, and on Christmas Day, I know the listenership's not all that high on Christmas Day. I mean, you will get people going from from point A to point B in their present delivery scheme of things, but a talk radio station just sounds foolish when all of a sudden music comes out for 3 hours, and that's what they do on Rush's show every year, is play a couple songs and then a massive amount of commercials. I just don't get it. Why not run a best of or something? I know listenership's down, just like they did on New Year's Day. They ran a best of. That was decent programming for the time slot for the holiday. And I know on Christmas Day they're trying to be reverent and all that, but on a talk station, when you tune to it, you kind of expect talk to come out, not music. You got every other channel on the face of this earth running the music, and it just doesn't flow well. But anyway, next year I'll try to convince them to do better. All right, let's get into the Cleveland Browns. Just finished their season 0-16. Only the second time in NFL history that it's happened. And let's listen into the new the video commemorating their amazing achievement this past year on the NFL football field.
NFL Films presents the Cleveland Browns 0-16 2017 season. See all the plays that almost worked.
That's a miss and a missed opportunity for potentially a big play.
Also the game they were leading against Green Bay with an injured Aaron Rodgers. Only to lose in overtime. Plus montages of head coach Hugh Jackson shaking his head in bewilderment, along with montages of the guy in the dog pound wearing that rubber dog mask with his head in his hands. Order now and get a free ball cap that says, Cleveland, we're #1 in draft picks. The Cleveland Browns, winless, from NFL Films.
All right, well, it's one of those seasons where they just couldn't handle it. I guess they just couldn't. They had a chance to win this past weekend. Threw the perfect pass to make it happen, and the guy, it just went right through his hands.
So you were actually watching?
No, I watched replays of it. So that's how it worked out. Anyway, all right, 7:36 past the hour. Time to go into the scariest part of our universe, and that, of course, is 1 minute inside a woman's head. This is episode number 443. It's called New Year's Proposal.
And now it's time for another episode of 1 Minute Inside a Woman's Head.
Well, another interesting New Year's date at a hotel party where luckily we didn't know anyone. That really takes the pressure off. My date got altered. I got altered. Right after midnight, he asked me to marry him. Everyone cheered, so because I'm a people pleaser, I yelled, yes! Everyone cheered again. We spent the night at the hotel. The next morning, he had no idea he asked or that I answered. I wondered, do I bring it up? No, it's not meant to be. It also didn't help that he called me Jill twice. When a guy's not clear on your name, I guess marriage just isn't in the cards. Isn't that right, Greg? I mean, Glenn. Or Gary. I don't know. Why do I always bring home the New Year's party crown and blowhorn? I don't need this. Do the guys keep their hats and horns? What am I, in college again? I gotta throw this stuff out. So, I started the year engaged, and now I'm single again. Sounds about right. Happy New Year, everybody.
And that was another episode of 1 Minute Inside a Woman's Head.
Of course, every time we go there, we need to go and give equal time. Well, it doesn't take as much time. This is a few seconds inside a man's head. This is episode number 28. It's called Drunk Dial.
And now it's time for another episode of A Few Seconds Inside a Man's Head.
4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Yeah, kiss her. Kiss her. Hey, it's me. Happy New Year. I was just thinking about you. Can I come over?
And that was another episode of A Few Seconds Inside a Man's Head.
Always heard when you call a woman at the last second, it's kind of an insult. Saying, well, I didn't think you were good enough for the evening, but since I couldn't find anybody else, now you're good enough. Kind of works off that song. That song, the women always get prettier at closing time.
I don't see why that would offend anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm your last choice. You wait till now, last second. Now you want me to come? Yeah. Wouldn't sit well with me.
Sarcasm, Steve.
I went to First Eve, downtown Southern Pines, on New Year's Eve. That was the city's event that they have each year from 6 to 8:30, and then they have the pine cone drop. And it is a big sculpted version of a pine cone with some lights on it. But anyway, it was really cold, and not that many people showed up. It was a little disappointing in the crowd, and I can't blame them. You know, it's mostly geared toward kids, and that's mostly what was there. But it wasn't a very big crowd, and I can understand the parents just don't want to be dealing with sniffles the next day and sick kids from the cold, and
They don't want to deal with their kneecaps freezing off.
yeah, and I think half the people were in the coffee shop getting coffee because it was cold. Oof. Anyway, met some nice folks there while I was there. Let's see what else we have this morning. Yeah, Mariah Carey was back on the Dick Clark New Year's Rockin' Eve on Sunday night. She redeemed herself after her disaster last year. The one where she botched 3 songs because of the sound issues. This time she did Hero and A Vision of Love, and both sounded fine. The only glitch was when she complained about not getting hot tea between songs. Now, she came out and was wearing a heavy fur coat, but it wasn't closed. It was open, so you could see the front of her dress, which, of course, had a deep V-neck design.
Had to. It's Mariah Carey.
And it was barely, just barely covering her nipples. I mean, the dress edge came right down right next to it. So not a whole lot left to the imagination there.
What was it, or was it one of those, where the material perfectly matched her skin color and it just looked like it?
No, this was...
well, maybe I shouldn't have asked.
Definitely contact glue was put there to make sure it didn't slip any. And she didn't move. But she did complain about not having some hot tea.
I just want to take a sip of tea if they'll let me. They told me there would be tea. Oh, it's a disaster. Okay, well, we'll just have to rough it. I'm going to be just like everybody else with no hot tea.
She couldn't sing We Belong Together either, even though her whole vocal was pre-recorded. She stopped in the middle and just let the track play. At the beginning of the clip, you can hear Mariah singing live along with the pre-recorded vocals, which is a lot louder in the mix. Then the live vocals stopped and the song kept going. Later, Mariah's manager did an interview and explained what happened with the defective in-ear monitors.
I didn't mean it when I said I didn't love you so. I should have held on tight, I never should have let you go. I didn't know nothing, I was stupid, I was foolish, I was lying to myself. I couldn't have fathomed I would ever be without your love. Never imagined I'd be sitting here beside myself. Cause I didn't know you, cause I didn't know me, but I thought I knew everything. I never felt.
And from that point on, it goes just a solo plays. Anyway, these I don't want to call her prima donna because I don't think she acts that way, but when something goes wrong, they just fall apart. They don't keep the ball going. Meanwhile, on another stage, Neil Diamond was in Times Square for the big New Year's Eve celebration, and he led the crowd in a huge sing-along of Sweet Caroline.
All right, we're coming up to the final choruses. Take a deep breath, and we're gonna do it all together. Are you ready? Here we go. Come on now. Sweet Caroline. Good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would. Last chorus now. Sweet Caroline. Good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would.
You know, when you went into that arena to perform, to watch the show, and the ball dropping, it was kind of this, they didn't allow you to, they had no urinals in the area. There was no place to use the bathroom. And you couldn't leave to go use the bathroom and get back in. So, and people were getting there in mid-afternoon to get a spot. I don't get it. Why would you go somewhere where for 9 hours you can't go to the bathroom?
Yeah, or go in the cold. I just, I don't get off on that kind of thing.
I guess you could bring a tent-like thing and throw it around you and have a portable urinal in your hand and Nobody be able to see anything, but you could get a little relief. I don't know. I guess you got to be young for all that. Obviously, I'm not that young. Let's see. Oh, Don Lemon, yes, Mr. CNN, got drunk on live TV last year while hosting CNN's New Year's Eve coverage and said he wanted to find love in 2017. This year, he came back and said he actually did it.
What are you thinking going into 2018?
I don't do resolutions. I mean, I said last year that I would be open to a relationship or that sort of thing. And so that's happened. So I sort of set goals in my life.
How's that
and
working
then I
out
just
for
achieved
you?
that. It's awesome. I found love.
You did fall in love.
On a two-way street.
Hey everyone, it's the Jazz Band, the Shotgun Jazz Band.
And lost it on a lonely.
That's enough of Don Lemon. I can't take him on the air, much less singing. That'd be like listening to Matt sing. Ugh.
Hey, wait a minute.
It's even worse than your dancing.
The dancing's pretty good.
I don't know where you got that in your head. Lindsay Lohan posted a kind of rambling message for New Year's on Instagram the other night. She says she's really looking forward to the next year.
Hi, it's Lindsay Lohan. Happy New Year 2018. God bless everyone in the world. I only have 60 seconds, I think, to kind of get a little bit of a message out. I'm really grateful for everything that's happened in my life. Everyone makes mistakes, but, you know, we have to live and learn. And I'm really looking forward to the next 2018. This year is going to be an amazing year for me.
Yeah, it's all boring. She's also $100,000 behind in her payments to the IRS. Georgia beat Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl yesterday in double overtime. They blocked the Oklahoma's field goal attempt, then ran it for a touchdown on their next possession to win it, 54 to 48.
27 yards to put the Sooners on top. Deflected, blocked. The Dogs do it again. Direct snap. Now it's Michelle's turn, running all the way. Gets to the edge. Sonny Michel will send the Dogs home to the championship game.
Now Georgia will play for the championship next Monday night in Atlanta. Atlanta crushed Clemson 24-6 in the Sugar Bowl yesterday, a rematch of the two national championship games.
That was the first Rose Bowl to go into overtime.
Let's see. You got to quote Phil for this guy. This is has to be one of the worst cases of instant karma imaginable. A guy in London tried to jump a subway turnstile and got his manhood caught in it. That's right. This tube got caught in the tube. The audio is from the subway workers who sat around laughing and filming while other people were trying to rescue the guy. Here's kind of what it sounded like.
Batter him up.
See, now he's singing a soprano. Sucks to be him today.
You said he was jumping the turnstile?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Instant karma, baby.
Somehow, yeah, we just said that. If, you know, what are the odds you jump the turnstile and then your jewels get caught just right in the turnstile itself and it's trying to rip them off your body? Yeah, you start singing in the low octaves and you end up yelling in the high octaves.
Neil Diamond's voice sounds like it's getting higher as time goes by.
Well, he's getting older, too.
Well, it usually goes the other way, though.
Let's see. Anything else? That's about it, I guess. Oh, the Bachelor season premiere was last night. Do we care? Nah.
No. I mean, if you're asking, no.
Otherwise, Matt's already seen it. You know, him and his roses, he wishes he was getting one. All right, 7:51. Let's take a look at this day in history.
Just trying to make me cry here on a early morning show.
This being the January 2nd all day long. So on this day in 230 years ago in 1788, Georgia, a.k.a. the Peach State, became our fourth state by ratifying the U.S. Constitution. Despite being one of the original 13 states, it was also one of the 11 to form the Confederacy and was the last Confederate state to be readmitted to the Union after the Civil War. In 1890, Alice Sanger became the first female White House staffer. She served President Benjamin Harrison. I wonder how many staffers they have now in the White House. I mean, it used to be you could walk up there and knock on the door and go in and talk to the president. It used to be they mowed the grass at the White House with sheep or goats or whatever. 59 years ago, in 1959, Russia launched Luna 1, the first spacecraft to make it as far as the moon. In 1974, President Richard Nixon signed a bill lowering the U.S. speed limit to 55 miles an hour. That was because of the oil shortage and the oil cartel banning oil coming to the United States. Yeah, I remember those days of getting up at 5 in the morning to go get in line at a gas station that opens at 6 in order to get a tank of gas. Some of them would limit you to 8 gallons.
Now, this is a story answering your question. This is a story from 2014 in The Hill, but according to them, there were 456 staffers, costing the taxpayer $37.8 million a year.
450 staffers.
456.
Just for the White House.
Average annual salary $82,844.
All right, let's see who else we got. 12 years ago in 2006, Lindsay Lohan hospitalized in Miami after an asthma attack. Those celebrating birthdays today, we got, let's see, who we got that I reckon of? Karina Smirnoff, 40 today, from Dancing with the Stars. Christy Turlington, the supermodel, is 49 years old. Jack Hanna, the animal expert, 71. Jim Baker, the former PTL and former husband to Tammy Faye, 78 years old today. And Roger Miller, born on this day, 1936, died in 92. All right, things we need to know so we don't sound stupid today. Let me get down to that. MasterCard said shoppers went over $800 billion during the season, more than ever before, boosted by growing consumer confidence, rising employment, and early discounts. Oliver Christmas, Erie, Pennsylvania, received 60.4 inches of snow. I'm sorry, Oliver Christmas. Over Christmas, Erie, Pennsylvania received 60.4 inches of snow over 2 days, a new state record. Amazon pulled a DIY circumcision training kit. Okay, not a spoiler.
You think?
This is not a spoiler, but there's a 10 seconds of silence that comes up in the new Star Wars movie And they just wanted you to know it's intentional. Some people were complaining. Yeah, there are geeks out there that just, you robbed me of 10 seconds of crucial information. No, they were complaining to theater owners that the equipment malfunctioned. The director put it in there for creative effect. A report says that the number of adults with roommates is at the highest level in decades. Thanks, Obama. Vin Diesel was the top grossing actor of 2017.
Really? What did he do?
Fast and Furious crap. Yeah, you know, they're so skilled with the car that they can ride along a train track and jump the car into an open box car. And they can put 2, 3 in there at one time. They are just so skilled. What a bunch of junk. And people pay to see it. Anyway, he's the number one top grosser, followed by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And the average Major League Baseball player salary last year, just over $4 million. A couple in Riverside, California, has been accused of using a drone to deliver drugs. Baltimore's 317 murders in 2017 was the highest ever per capita. And we thought Chicago was bad. France is banning all smartphones from elementary school beginning in September. Yay, more government intrusion into your life. Rosemarie, the big part of the Dick Van Dyke Show in the early 60s, died last week. She was 94. Disney resorts are doing away with do not disturb signs in hotels for security reasons. And Delta ranks highest in a survey of airline food. In California, Jack in the Box is offering the Merry Munchie Meal for those stoners. The cost $4.20. Yesterday morning, the average temperature across the contiguous 48 states, average 11 degrees.
Holy moly.
And if you like a good rumor...
And that was just, you said, the 48 states.
Yeah. And if you like a good rumor, how about this one? Amazon is buying Target. That's a rumor. All right, right now here in the Sandhills, we're looking at a balmy, let's refresh that and see. Still 9 degrees out there. Your full forecast is next in your news, 8 o'clock.
High pressure will bring us sunny skies today with temperatures a little warmer than yesterday. It's still going to be cold, though, with highs about 30 to 35. Tonight we'll have clear skies in the evening. Late tonight, clouds will be increasing from the southwest. We'll have lows in the teens. Those temperatures may climb a little toward morning. Then mainly cloudy on Wednesday with some patchy flurries or light snow developing midday into the afternoon, especially from around I-95 eastward. Highs tomorrow about 34 to 39. I'm meteorologist Mike Moss in the Weather Center.
97.3 FM and 990 AM. WEDB Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Aberdeen. And on the web at talk973.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. 5 degrees in Boston, 13 in New York, 6 below in Chicago. The bitter cold shows no signs of abating, and the Midwest is really feeling it.
Temperatures have been as much as 30 to 40 degrees below normal, even a little bit colder than that in some locations. So we're talking about low temperatures. We've had some lows as cold as negative 45. Pretty widespread, though, negative 20 and colder.
National Weather Service meteorologist Mark Chenard. 2 deaths in Milwaukee blamed on exposure to the dangerously low temperatures. As many Americans return home from their long holiday break, some airline passengers ran into some pretty sizable delays last night. The Customs and Border Protection processing system broke down.
10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. They're like, okay, 40 people can go down. Then we wait another hour.
A frustrated traveler talking with ComoNews.com in Seattle. Gas prices up 5 cents from a week ago, averaging $2.49 a gallon. President Trump back at the White House. He's getting back to work following his Christmas break. He has a lot on his plate.
He's traded Florida temperatures in the 70s for a deep chill here in Washington and faces a long legislative list. Infrastructure, immigration, and children's health insurance are among the issues both the president and Congress are looking at in coming weeks before the focus on Capitol Hill shifts to the GOP looking to hold its majorities in the midterm elections.
Correspondent Sagar Meghani. The ongoing unrest in Iran has claimed 9 more lives. Protesters continuing to clash with security forces across the country. The demonstrations have been going on for close to a week now, the largest since Iran's disputed 2009 presidential election. On Wall Street, Dow futures are up 61 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by, making minimum payments? You should know the credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a large portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-694-7394. 800-694-7394. That's 800-694-7394.
A court appearance for suspects in last October's deadly truck bombing in Somalia's capital.
4 of the accused appeared before a military court on Monday in Mogadishu. Prosecutors accused one of them of being a key al-Shabaab member who coordinated its bomb attacks in the capital. A 5th suspect is believed to be on the run. Security agencies say he's the owner of the vehicle that was used in the bombing on the 14th of October. Most of the victims of the attack were civilians, and this led to public outrage against al-Shabaab, whom many accuse of being behind the bloodshed. The trial of the suspects continues on Thursday.
The BBC's Tommy Oladipo. Japan's Emperor Akihito, who will abdicate the chrysanthemum throne and hand it over to his son next year, was showered with cheers from tens of thousands of New Year well-wishers on Tuesday at Japan's Imperial Palace. News and analysis at townhall.com. The rise of Bitcoin fueling debate about the environmental impact of the virtual currency uses tons of processing power driven by electricity.
Bitcoin miners earn rewards by compiling recent transactions and verifying transactions by solving a puzzle that requires a lot of computational power. More people are investing in warehouses of hardware to mine Bitcoin, with many of them located in places like China where electricity is cheap and it comes from burning coal. Researchers began to realize that the Bitcoin network was using massive amounts of electric power, close to 4 or 5 terawatt hours of energy. Some saying it's using more like 13 terawatt hours, as much as the entire country of Slovenia. Glenn Brand with the Sierra Club in Maine says the growth of virtual currencies threatens the progress that the world is making, moving towards a low-energy, low-carbon economy. I'm Jennifer King.
Watching Wall Street, stock futures pointing to a higher open later this morning. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Neck, shoulder, or back pain can be downright debilitating. If you have those issues, you already know that, and you don't need me to tell you about the opioid crisis. There's another, better way. I'm talking about chiropractic, a healing art that's also science. Dr. Sharon Wright of Wright Chiropractic in Seven Lakes invites you to come in for a discussion about how chiropractic works and could work for you. To be sure, there are many of you out there that have reached the proverbial dead end trying to treat and manage your pain.
This is Dr. Wright. I can't guarantee I can fix every problem, but I will tell you honestly whether chiropractic can be of help for your particular issue. Living with pain is not always the only option. Doesn't it make sense to explore every avenue before resigning yourself to the limitations of pain? Call our office today to schedule a consultation and start living again. 673-2225.
It's a very happy new year at Philly & Colts. We're celebrating 2018 and our first year at Little River. We want everyone to join us for the celebration, and we have gifts for you. Try anything from our new Black Horse Bar menu and leave with a gift card for your next visit. How much is the gift card? You decide. Spend 20, get 20. Spend 50, get 50. Come back as many times as you want. Collect gifts the whole month of January. Check out our new menu at phillyandcolts.com. Some restrictions apply.
Reopening January 4th.
New York Deli and Catering in the Olmsted Village Shopping Center is a slice of the Big Apple in Pinehurst, featuring Boar's Head meats and cheeses, authentic New York bagels, New York pizza on Wednesdays and Fridays, and a full breakfast menu until 11 a.m. Try their new breakfast sandwich, the Taylor Pork Roll with egg and cheese, a New York area favorite, or choose from one of their 33 signature sandwiches like the Central Park, the Wall Street, or the incredible Plaza Pastrami. New York Deli is open weekdays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call ahead for takeout at 295-2264.
Hey, it's Keith again from Sweet Dreams Mattresses and More in Southern Pines, and I'm here to proudly announce the acquisition of the Serta Sleep Store and More in Southern Pines. And to celebrate, you can save up to 70% on our huge floor model inventory and up to $500 off select inventory with free white glove delivery. So all you have to do is sleep. Come in today. I'd love to meet you and save you some money during this huge Serta and Beauty Rest floor model sale going on now at the locally owned Sweet Dreams Mattresses and More, across from the entrance to Goodwill in Southern Pines. Better sleep, sweeter dreams.
NCN News, I'm Tony Rixby. Bone-chilling cold continues to grip much of the country, breaking century-old records and leading to at least 2 deaths. Bob Oravec is a forecaster with the National Weather Service, saying that we are continued to set those records.
As of this morning, the core of the coldest air is across parts of the plains towards the Ohio Valley. Some early morning low temperatures so far are in the minus 10 to minus 15 degree range across parts of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa.
Here in North Carolina, people are struggling to find a warm place to sleep on these frigid nights. In Charlotte, the Urban Ministry has a program called Room in the Inn. Chief Administrative Officer Don Kelly telling WBTV.
Actually come here and pick up people who are living on the streets and house them for the night, feed them.
The center teams with other organizations like the YMCA to help those who would otherwise be stuck out in the brutally uncomfortable freezing weather finding a warm bed for the night. Arriving international airport passengers faced delays around the country last night. CBS News transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve says Customs and Border Protection computers crashed.
Airports across the country are warning flyers of potential delays as they're arriving into the country because you've got a backlog of people, in some cases maybe hundreds or thousands of people who have been waiting potentially hours.
Showing that the economy is global, one expert says some other countries bear watching if we see their impact on our current economic growth. NC State economist Dr. Mike Walden says there are multiple issues facing China.
They have labor issues with respect to not generating enough jobs for the rural people who are moving to the cities. They have tremendous amounts of debt, much more than we have relative to the size of their economy.
South Korean leaders still searching for ways to get North Korea more involved in the Winter Olympic Games that begin next month. You're listening to NCN News.
Do you want the latest insider news and information for your favorite college sports team? Subscribe now to the ACC Sports Journal magazines. Our ACC Sports Journal magazines are filled with extensive detail on each team for football, basketball, and recruiting. It's a must-buy for every fan of the Tar Heels, Blue Devils, Wolfpack, Demon Deacons, and the rest of the ACC. Subscribe now and save 40% off the cover price. That's a full year's subscription for just $24. Be sure to subscribe now to receive our 2018 ACC Basketball Recruiting Guide. As a subscriber, you'll get your copy before it hits the newsstands. Ordering is fast and easy too. Just go to ACCsports.com right now and click on the big yellow Subscribe Now button. Don't miss out on this offer. Go to ACCsports.com now and click on the Subscribe Now button.
In Iran, the demonstrations are continuing and they're getting deadlier, as we hear from Vicki Barker.
Street protests spreading, blood spilling. Iranian state television reports 9 dead in clashes overnight, including when rioters tried to storm a police station to steal weapons. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is blaming outside forces, but it's homegrown grievances over corruption, unemployment, and rising food prices that have pushed thousands of ordinary Iranians onto the streets. Hundreds have been arrested, and the head of Tehran's Revolutionary Court is reportedly warning some could face the death penalty. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
Dozens of North Carolina companies thinking ahead to what they can give Mother Earth on Earth Day. Stephanie Carson explains.
Earth Day is 4 months away, and businesses are planning their community service projects with the help of an innovative program from EarthShare NC. The organizations help match businesses with nonprofits in need, and the planning begins well before April 22nd. Executive Director Heather Beard says the participation plants a seed in some volunteers.
80% of the employees that participated had never even heard of the nonprofit before, and so they're being introduced to something that's going on in their community and getting that firsthand opportunity to experience it.
This is Stephanie Carson reporting.
Some words like fingernails on a blackboard.
If you're done with words and phrases like unpack, drill down, and nothing burger, you're not alone. They're among Northern Michigan's Lake Superior State University's annual list of words banished from the Queen's English for misuse, overuse, and general uselessness. Also singled out, pre-owned, impactful, and the redundant hot water heater. Topping the list, fake news. Pam Coulter, CBS News.
And I'm Tony Rixby, NCN News.
We'll see deep blue skies and sunshine around the area today, and temperatures will warm a little more than yesterday. Still cold, though, with highs 30 to 35. Overnight tonight, clear in the evening, and then an increase in clouds later with lows in the teens. Temperatures may be rising a bit toward morning. We'll see cloudy skies for the most part Wednesday, and we could see some bands of flurries or light snow showers develop midday into the afternoon. Best chances from around I-95 eastward. We'll have highs about 34 to 39. I'm Mike Moss in the Weather Center.
Right now it's clear, and we've gone down a degree, 8 degrees here in the Sandhills. Humidity 76%, 2.2. Pressure 3059. Winds calm. Visibility is at 10 statute miles. It's 8:13. Let's take a look at your Sandhills news for this Tuesday morning. An alleged domestic dispute between a driver and passenger caused the car to flip on Bethesda Road just outside of Aberdeen city limits on New Year's morning. The 911 call came in just after 9:30 in the morning on Monday, advising the caller had been in an altercation after being assaulted and in a accident. Emergency crews and law enforcement arrived to find the vehicle overturned at the edge of the road and the female sitting in the car of a Good Samaritan who had stopped at the accident. The male involved was waiting near the overturned vehicle. EMS examined both individuals, and the male was transported to the hospital for further treatment. Meanwhile, 2 people were injured, and the roadway was blocked after a two-vehicle accident in Southern Pines broke a power pole in half on Saturday. Emergency responders were dispatched at 9:26 in the morning to a vehicle accident in the 1100 block of West Pennsylvania Avenue at the intersection of South Hardin Street. According to the emergency officials, the accident involved 2 vehicles, with one of the vehicles also striking a power pole and breaking it in 2 different places. And a contractor for the State Department of Transportation will be replacing a bridge on Jackson Springs Road in western Moore County. To complete the work, the 52-year-old bridge over Jackson Creek will be closed to traffic beginning today. A signed detour will route traffic onto NC 73 and 211 and Hoffman Road. The new bridge is expected to open in May of 2018. Dellinger Incorporated of Monroe was awarded the $1.2 million contract to replace this bridge, and one on Roslyn Road in Moore County. Construction on the bridge is expected to begin after the completion of the Jackson Springs Bridge. For real-time travel information, you can go to drivenc.com or follow NCDOT on Twitter. That's your latest Sand Hills news this morning, but hang on, here comes your latest in sports right here on Talk 97.3 FM and 990 AM. WEEB is 816.
NCN Sports, the College Football National Championship is set. It will be Alabama and Georgia next Monday night. The third-ranked Bulldogs won the first overtime Rose Bowl ever on Monday, a wild 54-48 victory that eliminated the second-ranked Oklahoma Sooners and Heisman Trophy winner Baker Mayfield. Georgia tailback Sonny Michel scored 4 touchdowns, including the winner in overtime.
When the play was called, everybody just looked each other in the eyes, and it was 11 guys just executing the play.
Then it was the rubber match of the last 2 national championship games, 4th-ranked Alabama and number 1 Clemson. The Tide smothered the Tigers 24-6 in the Sugar Bowl semifinal. Nick Saban says his team was prepared after losing the national championship to Clemson last year.
It was a little bit personal, I think, for us after what happened to us last year. So really, really pleased for our players.
Alabama and Georgia in the national championship on Monday night in Atlanta. It'll be the second time in 7 seasons that the title will come down to 2 SEC teams appropriately played at the home of the SEC conference title game. Duke and Carolina have risen to the top of the AP's top 25 college basketball poll, which also has a new number 1 team.
Michigan State has replaced Villanova atop the rankings. The Spartans are now 14-1 with their only loss coming to Duke, which moved up to number 2. Villanova fell to 3rd after suffering its first loss of the season to Butler on Saturday. The nation's 2 other previously unbeaten teams, Arizona State and TCU, also lost Saturday for the first time and dropped to 4th and 16th respectively. I'm Tom Merriam.
As the Panthers prep for Wild Card Weekend, defensive coordinator Steve Wilks will be prepping for job interviews. The Lions, Giants, and Colts have requested to meet with him for their head coaching vacancies. Wilks is in just his first season as the Panthers defensive coordinator. He was hired after Sean McDermott left for the head coaching job in Buffalo, which worked out well for him. He's got the Bills in the playoffs for the first time in 17 years. This is NCN Sports.
Discover Rio's best-kept secret, the wine cellar. This Vegas hidden gem showcases over 10,000 wine bottles from around the world. Chippendales is the ultimate Las Vegas girls' night out, nightly at the Rio, 8:30 and 10:30. Dine, dance, and drink 51 stories above Sin City at Voodoo Rooftop Nightclub. Flair bartenders keep the party going. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Tired of aimlessly sending your resume into job board black holes? Want to ensure that your application is being viewed by an actual employer? Visit ncjobsnow.com today and let your resume stand out. At ncjobsnow.com, we don't let a computer algorithm decide who gets to see your resume. Your application will be sent directly to the hiring manager, giving you the visibility you need. So what are you waiting for? Apply for your next opportunity at ncjobsnow.com and get noticed today.
The Panthers now preparing for this weekend's wild card matchup against New Orleans. Despite their season finale loss to the Falcons, a game that, as it turned out, presented the opportunity for Carolina to capture the NFC South title because the Saints lost in Tampa Bay. Head coach Ron Rivera says that's all in the rearview mirror.
The message was, guys, we're going forward. We're not looking back. Everything's in front of us, and we're in a great situation. We're playing a team that we've played before, and so we're excited about that.
The Panthers didn't look like the team they wanted to be against the Falcons, particularly on offense, but their review of the loss was minimal. Round 3 of the Panthers and Saints will be Sunday at 4:40 in the NFC Wild Card. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
This is Chuck from Sunbelt Service Pros. Are you just not feeling it anymore with your AC service provider? Are you calling those guys because that's what you've always done, or because there's a sticker on the thermostat with an old phone number on it? How about this? Take a chance and you'll be thrilled to find that you're getting real value for your heating and cooling dollars. When you call Sunbelt Service Pros, you are dealing with a professional and reliable service provider. Our technicians are highly trained and certified and can quickly address any issues. Our customers find our technicians and office staff courteous, friendly, and professional throughout the whole process. We're doing something right here. You need to check us out. Find out what you've been missing and call us today. Sunbelt Service Pros at 910-944-2044 or go online to sunbeltservicepros.com.
Hi folks, it's Coach Pete from Capital Financial and Insurance. We believe in better. A better way to invest, a better way to serve you, and a better result. If you're concerned about your investments, I'm offering to sit down with you, review your plan, and show you the Coach Pete way. I'm confident that once you've experienced the Coach Pete way, you'll never settle for anything less. Call me or visit me online and come experience the Coach Pete way.
Call now 800-797-9994, 800-797-9994, aplusretirement.com.
Good health maintenance is about more than just good medicine. That's why Health Innovation Pharmacy is offering the Ideal Protein Weight Loss Clinic program. The CDC identifies obesity as public enemy number 1. Now, we could also list the issues like diabetes, heart disease, stroke, vision issues, and many others. But you know them already. What this program offers is the knowledge to help you win the weight loss fight without losing muscle mass. Stop by Health Innovation and let them discuss how the 2-step Ideal Protein Weight Loss program will help you lose weight, but also maintain that weight loss. Book your journey into good health today. Also, it's flu season, so don't forget your flu and shingles shot. Health Innovation Pharmacy on Pinehurst Avenue in Southern Pines, locally owned and serving Moore County since 2001.
Don't have a family member in the insurance business? Call us first. First Casualty Insurance Group. We represent over 3 dozen outstanding companies and can provide you with the right insurance at a cost that makes sense. Let's have a look. We'll do a top-to-bottom review and it won't cost you a cent. Your place or ours, there's no obligation. Get the coverage you need at a price that makes sense. Just call 910-692-8303. For over 30 years, our customers know where insurance is concerned, you should always think first. First Casualty Insurance Group, Southern Pines. 910-692-8303.
You already know about the great steaks and appetizers at Outback Steakhouse, but let me tell you about one of my favorites that you likely won't find anywhere else in town. It's the Outback Pork Porterhouse, a bone-in pork T-bone, and the bone is what gives extra flavor to the meat. This cut blows away chops, loins, or even tenderloin. I get mine with a side of marmalade. It's a nice switch from their great steaks, and it's easy on the wallet too. Give it a try. Outback Steakhouse, great steaks and more, 15501 in Southern Pines.
With so much going on, I almost forgot that a fruity, delicious Fanta orange is still only $1 at Mickey D's. Now that refreshes my memory.
This season, take time to chill with a refreshing Fanta orange or any size soft drink, all still just $1. Or for $2, grab a small McCafe smoothie, frappe, or shake. So before you forget, head to Mickey D's.
A la carte only. Limited time offer. Participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or any combo meal. Fanta is a registered trademark of the Coca-Cola Company.
Do you know what can be lurking in the water that comes into contact with you and your family? Is there something in your water? Bad odor, hardness, bacteria, iron, lead, arsenic, brown or blue-green stains? Do you have dry skin, hair discoloration, or your water just tastes bad? If you need an RO system, water conditioning, well repairs, well inspection, an irrigation or water well, then it's time to call American Water Treatment Services. We at American believe we can do just about anything with your water, except walk on it. The owners, Cheryl and Guy, believe that you, as a customer, deserve prompt and courteous service at a fair price. And Guy should know he is the water guy. American is fully insured and a member of the Better Business Bureau. Call American Water Treatment Services for a free in-home water analysis. You can also find them in the yellow pages under Water. Call American Water Treatment at 910-944-3140 and ask for the Water Guy. That's 910-944-3140.
Hello, I'm John Zumwalt, and you're in the Zumwalt Zone. You know, you don't have to do something just because you can do it. I was at the grocery store the other day. I was standing in the aisle looking at something. My mind was 1,000,000 miles away, and I was blocking the aisle. Now, blocking the aisle happens to be one of my pet peeves, and yet, there I was, blocking the aisle. Behind me, I heard a beep, beep sound. It was a horn, kind of like the kids used to have on their bicycles. The kind you squeeze that rubber ball and it honks. I turned around and looked. You'll never believe what it was. It was an elderly lady, and by elderly I mean considerably older than me, on a walker, with a horn attached to it. She was looking at me the same way people look at you at the traffic circle. She was aggravated as she could be. Now, I don't blame her for being aggravated, but I do blame her for honking at me. We're at the grocery store, for crying out loud. Just because you have a horn doesn't mean you have to honk it. You could simply have said, "Excuse me, you're blocking the aisle." Well, when she honked, I said, "Pardon me, ma'am, I'm sorry," and I moved out of the way. Well, it took her 30 minutes to get by me. And on her way by, she looked at me several times like she wanted to whip my behind. I half expected her to flip me off. It's a brand new year. Let's try to be polite. Don't be rude. Don't pass taxes just because you can. Had to throw that in. Anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful day and a great year. From the Zoom Walk Zone.
High pressure will bring us sunny skies today with temperatures a little warmer than yesterday. It's still going to be cold, though, with highs about 30 to 35. Tonight, we'll have clear skies in the evening. Late tonight, clouds will be increasing from the southwest. We'll have lows in the teens. Those temperatures may climb a little toward morning. Then mainly cloudy on Wednesday with some patchy flurries or light snow developing midday into the afternoon, especially from around I-95 eastward. Highs tomorrow about 34 to 39. I'm meteorologist Mike Moss in the Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills' number one morning show. Mornings with the LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM and 990 AM WEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us.
Today's Tuesday.
I wonder when everyone's favorite radio show is going to start.
I hope everybody had a great New Year's Eve. 7% of people started the new year by lying.
People make resolutions.
You posted your New Year's resolution on Facebook.
My resolution was to read more, so I put the subtitles on my TV. Oh, there you go. Very smart.
This is more than the typical kind of thing. Felt the Jones in my bones when you were touching me. Oh, didn't want to take it slow. In the days going crazy, can barely think. You're replaying in my brain, find it hard to sleep. Oh, waiting for my phone to blow. Yeah, now I'm here in a sticky situation. Got a little trouble, yep, and now I'm pacing. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, now it's been an hour. Don't wanna think too hard, but I'm sour. Oh, I can't seem to let you go. See, I've been waiting all day for you to call me baby. So let's get up, let's get on it. Don't you leave me broken hearted tonight. Come on, that's right. Honest, baby, I'll do anything you want to. So can we finish what we started? Don't you leave me broken hearted tonight. Come on, that's right. Cheerio. What's the time? Such a crime, not a single word. Sipping on that Patron just to calm my nerves. Oh, popping bottles by the phone. Oh yeah. Had me up, had me down, turned me inside out. That's enough, call me up, baby, I'm in doubt. Oh, and I don't even think you know. No. See, I've been waiting all day for you to call me baby. So let's get up, let's get on it. Don't you leave me broken hearted tonight. Come on, that's right. Honest, baby, I'll do anything you want to. So can we finish what we started? Don't you leave me.
Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM and 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sandhills. It is Mornings with the LeaderMan. I am Steve Leader Adams.
And I'm Matt Horsey, the LeaderMan's expanding sidekick. If you want to text me a tip, a thought, a comment, you may do so at 690-0116, 690-0116. Gas prices, by the way, went up across the county from before Christmas, about 5 cents. So hold off because Gas Buddy app is saying that prices are probably going to be going down this week.
Don't forget, of course, we're being seen around the world on the live video stream. That's available from our website at talk973.com. Top middle of the page is the link. If you're on a mobile device, use your YouTube app with Mornings with the LeaderMan in there, and then click Listen Live. If you just need audio, we suggest the TuneIn app. All the apps are free and available at your app store. In the TuneIn situation, put WEEB into the search, and we'll pop up there, and you can click on that. Or you can get our live audio off of our website at talk973.com. Upper right-hand corner of any of our web pages, there's a little icon that says Listen Live. Just click on that. Weather for us today here in the Sandhills, with no big improvement in the weather as far as these temperatures go. This is pretty much going to be a grin and bear it week until we get to Sunday. Then we'll moderate and be in low 40s on Sunday, upper 40s on Monday. Right now, look for sunny skies, high of 32 for today. Partly cloudy tonight, 16 tomorrow, mostly cloudy. If you're east of 95, you might see some precipitation. If you're over our way, chances are slim for that happening. Look for a high of 35 tomorrow. Tomorrow night, a low of 21. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high of 35. Friday, sunny 32. Saturday, 34. Sunday, 41. And Monday, 49. Right now around the Sandhills, winds of calm, visibility 10 statute miles, pressure 3059, dew point 2, humidity 76. It's sunny and 8 degrees here at Talk 97.3 FM and 990 AM WEEB. And with these frigid temperatures, let me quickly go over Steve's tip to keep your pipes from freezing. When we get these steady days of single-digit temperatures day after day after day, of course, that frost line starts working its way down into the ground, and you need to compensate for it. One thing you can do to make sure your pipes don't freeze, biggest thing you do is close all the foundation vents around your home. That wind whipping up through works on those pipes pretty hard. Also, make sure all your siding is well secured down. Don't have any big gaps. If you do, caulk them so that wind can't get under the siding and get to your pipes, particularly around your bathrooms and kitchen area. If you have also other vulnerable spot for your pipes is at the water meter, believe it or not. And this will hold true if we have a snow or something like that. The best thing you can do is shovel more snow on top of your water meter. That acts as an insulator and traps the ground heat in.
I'm glad you brought that up. I need to go put some pine straw over the top of my meter.
Yeah, that would work. Something to hold some ground heat in, because that's a vulnerable point, particularly with the older water meters, because the pipe literally comes up to ground level, attaches to the water meter, goes through the meter, and then back down. So that becomes a freeze point. And the other potential freeze point is, and it's particularly in older houses, where the water line comes into the house. Back then, they required it to transition to copper when it first comes out of the ground, and a cutoff meter had to be put right there, cutoff valve. So that piece of copper is a real vulnerable point. Might do you well to wrap that in insulation if you can. But anyway, the main thing is that those foundation vents, keep it from whipping around. Keep your foundation access hole closed, and make sure it's got a good seal on it so that water's not, wind's not whipping in there. And of course, the ultimate way to keep your pipes from freezing, just keep the water running. Cut a faucet on with kind of, the width, I guess a pencil lead, they say, if you can get a steady stream. It needs to be rapid enough so it doesn't dribble shut. In other words, a chunk of ice gets in there. You need enough water flow to make sure ice can't form in your line. And it keeps constant water coming through the house. You'll spend $0.25 or $1 a day on the water, but it sure beats the hundreds or thousands you may spend if you break a pipe. And, of course, the aggravation of not having water all of a sudden.
Sometimes you can't help it. Niagara Falls is freezing over.
So if you do get a frozen pipe, cut your water off. Find the main cutoff valve to your home and cut it off. And wait for your pipes to thaw. As long as the temperatures are below freezing, they're not going to thaw. And don't be using a torch under your house. You can get electric pipe warmers and try that if you want to, or a hair dryer. Don't go higher than a hair dryer, because if you do get the wood around it, and that's kindling dried wood, you got to remember it's got 19% or less moisture in it. That's what kindling dried means. Anyway, you got to losing my train of thought. You gotta try to warm the pipes if you can.
But no heat guns, no open flames.
Right. The point is, if the water doesn't come on, cut it back off, because there's nothing. Because usually, it depends on the age of your home. You can have easily split pipes, and you want to when that water comes back on, you want to make sure you don't have a split pipe. Today's plumbing got a little give to it, but not so much. And so you need to make sure that when you have a frozen pipe, that you thaw it when it thaws, that you're there when the water comes back on. So let's suppose you had a frozen pipe and you and you try to get it unfrozen. You can't do it, so you got to leave the water off until Sunday, when we get some reasonable warm temperatures around here. When it'll be 41, then you can try cutting your water on and see if you can get some water flow. But here's the key: when you cut the water on, you got to check to see if you got a leak somewhere. Now, if it's in the wall, what do? You call a plumber, obviously, but cut the water back off. And one way to tell whether or not you got a leak is to cut the water on, give it a couple of minutes to fill up your toilets and all that, and your hot water tank, and so forth and so on, till the water quits flowing in. And you can kind of put your hand on the pipe underneath the house and feel whether there's water flow. Not all of it, but you can tell when the rapid flow stops. And then leave the water on, go out and check your meter. You got to work, usually one of those meters open with a screwdriver. They require a little key, but most of them will just push the little spring back with your screwdriver, and it'll open up. And then watch the meter. If it keeps on turning, you got a leak. If it's at a dead stop, you're good to go. And one other thing you can do, of course, is open up the cabinets underneath any sink or an area that's exposed to the outside wall, because that'll be another vulnerable point. So keep as much heat on the wall as possible. Crank your heat up a little higher than you normally would to put more heat on the system. You just got to pay the bill. It's better than the busted pipe or doing without water. And I guess that pretty much covers everything. All right, so good luck with all that. And remember, do not leave the home with the water on if your pipes are frozen. You may come back and everything's flooded out and ruined. So,
and let me add, when the power's still on, it's usually not a big deal, but check on your neighbors. At the very least, check to the neighbors left and right and maybe across the street from you, particularly if they are elderly or in bad health.
All right, 8:39 past the hour. Let's move on now to morning rim shots this morning. Get those done. Cuba Gooding Jr. turns 50 today. He's celebrating by reading the script for Snow Dogs 2 and sadly trying to repress the memory that he was once a respected Oscar-winning actor. Didn't he win best actor for the movie Radio? Wasn't that it?
Ooh, Radio? I don't know. I'll check.
Or he got it for Jerry Maguire. I think maybe a supporting actor. Anyway, I know he's won an Oscar. The highest grossing movie of 2017, I should say movies, starred women, as did 5,000 highest grossing movies in porn. Johnny Manziel has been cleared to play the Canadian Football League in the 2018 season, so excuse me, Alexa, buy stock and Molson and Canadian Club. Add that to my list, please. Thank you. He's a big drinker. LeBron James turned 33 on Saturday. He's celebrating by finding out what Michael Jordan did for his 33rd birthday and then doing the same thing but not quite as well. President Trump wants to get an infrastructure bill done in 2018. It includes building a brand new prison to house Hillary. Under the GOP bill, members of Congress won't be able to deduct payments for sexual harassment penalties. In other words, a lot of members of Congress will have zero write-offs this year. You know, while we're on that subject, well, remind me to come back to that. Let me finish out the rim shots. Kim Jong-un says the entire U.S. is within range of his nukes. Then he admitted that there are parts of Chicago even his missiles won't go to. Regional marijuana is now legal in, recreational marijuana is now legal in California. It's predicted to raise millions for the state and trillions for Frito-Lay. There was hazy skies over Pasadena for yesterday's Rose Parade, not from a marine layer. It was the first day recreational pot went on sale in California. And a fight that departs New Zealand in 2018 landed in Hawaii in 2017. Interested in traveling back in time yourself? You can visit Utah. And those are your rim shots for today.
You wanted to talk about taxpayer funding of congressional sexual harassment settlements.
I want to talk about the deduction. I had a Facebook friend that I've known since elementary school, and she's a bright girl. Post up there that, one guy was asking about the tax bill that just passed, and she was saying the problem is that, she's bought into the liberal diatribe that all the tax cuts for you and I expire in 8 years, but it lives on forever for the bad old corporations out there. They get them forever. And then I tried to explain to her, I said that the Republicans went to the Democrats and asked them to waive the Dasher rule so they wouldn't have to pass this bill under what they call reconciliation rules, which limits new tax increases, tax cuts on individuals to an 8-year cap.
In other words, if they don't get the 60 votes in the Senate, they have to sunset everything they do.
Put a sunset on it, right. And that's what happened. The Democrats said, no, you've got to get your 60 votes or put a sunset clause in it. In other words, their whole mantra is to resist to the nth degree and let the Jimmy Kimmels and the Stephen Colberts of the world, yes, that was his given name. He changed it to Colbert. But anyway, let them beat up on Trump for the year and gather in more people and make it look silly if you support Trump. and keep on feeding off of that crowd and keep trying to raise their numbers in it. So anyway, they wouldn't allow the Senate to pass that tax bill under unless it was under reconciliation with the sunset clause in it. And she never heard of that. I said, well, you've been watching MSNBC too long, and you only hear that diatribe of Chuck Schumer, oh, this is a tax cut for the rich. Well, I was talking to a rich friend of mine. He's in the satellite business, meaning he's the one that put satellites up there, and he just launched another 10 last week. And he says, my taxes are, he says, I no longer get to deduct the $100,000 in state taxes that I pay in. And like I said, he's rich. So that's no longer, he's only allowed to deduct $10,000, 10 or 20, I forget what it was, but the rest of it he's now got to pay tax on tax. So in effect, he got a tax raise. But that ain't what you'll hear on the drive-by media. They'll be talking about, oh, their cuts are permanent and blah, 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 blah. And corporations get a permanent cut. Well, we need the permanent cut to get lower taxes so that corporations are competitive with the world. And more corporations will come over here and build things instead of over there, which is what's been happening for so long under Obama, with a 35% rate and the rest of the world averaging 21, makes it hard to compete. So our Congress compromised and raised it 21, lowered the tax to 21%.
I saw a story over the weekend on the Morty Citizens page, linked there. There was an Australian company that just was drowning under Australia's new green energy rules and other stuff. They are relocating to Pennsylvania, and you have to know that tax cut for businesses is part of that.
Well, the other good thing Trump's doing is getting rid of the regulations that just snuffed out business growth. I mean, getting a business loan from a bank was just about impossible unless you were really big and really strong.
Did you
in other
hear?
words, you got to show a need of being able to self-fund it if you have to in order to be able to get the loan. And that's just asinine. It doesn't allow a bank, there's nothing wrong with a bank. Of course, they make them keep capital reserves in their vault to protect the consumer. But banks have to take risks. I mean, they do it all the time. When you get a home loan, there's always a risk. Your main supporter of the income could die, be killed in a car wreck. There'll be a whole host of things, or come down sick, and all of a sudden you don't have your income. And then you got a problem with the loan. Well, the loan's always going to be secured. The bank is not going to loan something that's not secured up. And, unless it's a small loan. But, it used to be you go in and you borrow money from a bank, and a lot of it came off of your reputation. You borrowed, you pay back, borrow, pay back. Particularly like when I was in the building business. I borrowed a lot of money and paid it back. And it got to the point that banks were coming to see me unannounced, trying to get me to borrow money from them. And I told them, I said, I'm going to stick with the two banks that were with me at the beginning when I didn't build a whole lot of houses.
Well, Steve, all right, now, come on now. Who knows, who has a better sense of how much you should be able to borrow? The bank who's lending you the money?
That's my point.
Or a bureaucrat?
Well, a bank, obviously.
Oh, no.
But today, with the Dodd-Frank rules in place, and they're relaxing some of them, making it a little easier to get the loans, but the Dodd-Frank laws basically said, no, if there's any risk whatsoever to the bank, you can't have the loan. And the bank, it didn't matter what your reputation was, didn't matter your past history. They just punched in today's numbers, and it either spit out yes or no. And that's not the way to do it. There's this, your reputation means nothing to the bank anymore. It's all down to the Dodd-Frank rules. And people like Elizabeth Warren and the other liberals say, well, that's there to protect the consumer. No, it's not. It's there to snuff out competition. The bigs get bigger and the smalls can't do it unless they can self-fund it. And if you got to self-fund it, it's mighty slow growth going forward. All right.
Cuba Gooding Jr. won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in Show Me the Money.
That's
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
And I don't know. Did you hear the interview with Scott Pruitt that Mark Stein did a few days ago?
Nope.
Wow. Scott Pruitt is turning the EPA upside down. You were just talking about the changes Trump is making to regulation. Wonderful, beautiful stuff. Look that stuff up. Just common sense stuff to stop the EPA from terrorizing individual citizens with loss of their livelihood.
Well, it's kind of like the red-headed cockaded woodpecker around here. If they find one on your property, oh man, you think the world's going to die, and you can't build on your own land. What they don't fail to realize is that bird has wings and can fly to another tree. It's just the way it works. I can see maybe not doing it in breeding season. Let them breed, get the birds out of the nest, and when that happens, you should be able to develop your land.
They're also delicious.
But, they come out there and they tack up a sign, oh, a red cockaded woodpecker was spotted here. You are out of luck. All righty. 2018, well, let me, how much time I got? Let's get on with, put our little lady on the stage and go from there.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had bad traits.
All right, my friends, it's time once again. You head across the floor. After we pump out our big chest by drawing in a big shot of air, walking like the Duke. I mean John Wayne. Open up our closet doors, look at all our Liberty safes. From Carthy Shooting Sports. And today, to start off the new year, let's see. Let's go with the old classic safe here. This is number 23. Open her up and let Matt reach in and grab our weapon of choice today.
All right, Steve, I'm going to give you an older one. This is the Mill Inc. Thunder 5, and it fires both 410 gauge shotgun shells and 45 shells. It kind of predated the Taurus Judge by about 10 years. Big revolver.
All right, we'll throw the big bad boy into our shoulder holster, pin on our badge, grab 5 cans of whoop ass as we head out the door now in relentless pursuit of stupid criminal news. Stupid criminal news number 1 today. So this is what happens if you get into a fight with your barber in the middle of a haircut and he decides to take revenge. 22-year-old guy in Madison, Wisconsin was getting his haircut last week. His stylist, well, he's a 46-year-old guy named Khaled Shabani. Might have known there'd be a in the name. Anyway, well, during the haircut, Caleb got upset with the guy for fidgeting and moving around, so he twisted the guy's ear, and then things got worse. Caleb nicked the guy's ear with his scissors. Then he took his clippers and ran it down the middle of the guy's head. So basically, the guy was left with a reverse mohawk, or hair that looks so much like Larry from the Three Stooges.
It'll turn on the women, though, inshallah.
Anyway, the guy called the police, and it's not illegal to give a bad haircut, by the way. By nicking the guy's ear with his scissors was against the law. So Kalev got a ticket for disorderly conduct. Yeah, looking at the picture, he sure did it to him.
I wonder why they'd call that disorderly conduct and not assault and battery.
Stupid criminal news number 2. One of the most famous email scams is the one where you get an email from a Nigerian prince who promises to send to cover the cost of the transfer. Well, a guy running one of those scams just got arrested. Hallelujah. And he's not exactly what you would have pictured when you think of a Nigerian prince. No, he's a 67-year-old white guy from Shadell, Louisiana, named Michael New. He was just arrested after an 18-month investigation on 269 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of money laundering. Apparently, he was working as a middleman for people in Nigeria. He collect the money, then send it along to them. There's no word on whether the authorities are working on tracking them down. And that, my friends, is your stupid criminal news for today.
There are over 200 million people in Nigeria. A lot of people to look through.
And I'm sure people, it's kind of like a blind squirrel gets a nut occasionally. It's one of those things. You send out enough emails, somebody falls for the stupid scam.
Lots of them, apparently. The number of people the money is in the billions.
Yep, in the quest to get rich quick, they do stupid things like this. Or give them their account information so these guys can just waltz in, grab all your money, and waltz out. And they're in Nigeria. How are you going to get them?
And folks, I know we've all heard this, but somebody just told me the story recently that she got an email or something popped up on her computer saying she had a virus, she needed to call the number. Delete those things. Do not call any numbers. Don't do it. Just delete it.
One thing I get is it'll say, Jane Doe, who's one of your Facebook friends that you know and trust. You get in your regular email saying that here's a link I know you'd be interested in. Those are the ones you got to be careful. Do not click those links, man. They'll start ramming a virus right down your throat on you, and then you're toast. So it goes for this Tuesday. Have yourself a great, safe day. We'll see you back bright and early tomorrow for a hump day Wednesday already. Until then, be sure to support all the mom and pops you hear on our airways because they are the backbone of our economy. Here in Moore County, money will stay here, roll over, and create jobs. And don't forget, millions of Americans have fought and they have died to give and protect the freedoms that you get to enjoy today. Live today worthy of their and their family's sacrifice. I'm Steve Leader Adams and the Leader Man, and Nick and Colt the dog will all see you at the Very Cold Dog Park at 2.
And I'm Matt Horsley. Oscar Wilde once said, good resolutions are simply checks that men draw on bank accounts where they have no account. Chris Planter's up next, followed by Rush Limbaugh, Hannity at 3, Levin at 6. Join the conversation and like us at facebook.com/WEEB990. We'll be back tomorrow for Mornings with the Leader Man at 7.
When I come back, you'd better be laughing.
So, what have we learned? Heck, I don't know. But this is one crazy show. Bye now.
Cut! That's it. Go home, everybody. None of this ever happened. Well, y'all come back now, you hear?
I think we're through here.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, man. That's pretty much all I got, man. Okay, class dismissed. Rock on!
Well, let me tell you something. Everything comes to an end.
97.3 FM and 990 AM. WEEB Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Aberdeen. And on the web at talk973.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason.
Temperatures across much of the country range anywhere from the teens to the single digits, even well below zero as a dangerous cold snap persists. Frigid temperatures, dangerously low wind chills from Texas to Canada, Montana to New England. There is no relief in sight. In fact, it could get even colder in some spots in the coming days.
There's another reinforcing shot of cold air that's forecast to move in Friday into Saturday. So the next couple days going to be cold, but it looks like it even gets a little bit colder for much of the mid-Atlantic and Northeast from Friday into Saturday.
National Weather Service meteorologist Mark Chenard, the bitterly cold weather blamed for at least 2 deaths. Millions of Americans making the trip back home today after their long holiday break. Last night, some air travelers encountered huge delays when Customs and Border Protection's processing system went down. Airline passenger Jennifer Martin says it seemed to leave airport personnel at a loss.
They ordered us to go get our baggage, right? Then I go get my baggage. They said, well, you got to go downstairs. So I come downstairs. They said, no, you got to go back up to the second floor. So I go back up to the second floor. No, that's shut off. You got to go back downstairs and go to the left. That's baggage claim.
She spoke with WSVN TV in Miami. Now that the holidays are over, President Trump and Congress face a long legislative to-do list.
The immediate focus is a spending bill to avoid a partial government shutdown January 19th. Congress punted many other key issues into the new year, including immigration and children's health insurance. The president's also expected to release an infrastructure plan this month and has said he expects Democratic support.
That's Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 112 points, NASDAQ futures 26 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
NCN News, I'm Tony Rixby. Bone-chilling cold gripping much of the central U.S. as 2018 has already seen some century-old records fall. CBS News correspondent DeMarco Morgan says we're seeing those records broken from coast to coast.
The frigid temperatures are also causing problems for emergency crews. In Washington, D.C. Monday, firefighters used a flare to try and thaw a frozen ladder.
The water freezes on our equipment, on our air packs, on our masks.
And in Nahant, Massachusetts, firefighters covered in ice worked to put out a house fire, but found water in some of their hydrants frozen.
It's bitterly cold across North Carolina, and forecasters say snow could be coming to the eastern part of the state later this week. A winter storm watch reported in 33 counties. Snow is possible Wednesday with up to 4 inches expected along the coast. Meteorologist Ryan Ellis at the National Weather Service Forecast Office in Raleigh.
It's a very well-defined western edge of the storm, and it will be the difference probably between nothing and a couple of inches, because where it does snow, it's going to accumulate very efficiently because of those cold ground temperatures.
New York City firefighters working hard to knock down a 6-alarm fire in the Bronx this morning.
This is not an easy one to battle. It is absolutely freezing outside, where firefighters are desperately trying to get this fire under control. They are hosing it down from all angles as this smoke continues to roar. Nearly 170 first responders are here right now. We've seen them actually trying to thaw out some of the hydrants to try and get the water flowing in this sub-freezing temperature as the flames have continued to flare back up.
An outage at the U.S. Customs and Border Protection processing system briefly led to delays Monday for international flights at many airports. You're listening to NCN News.
Do you want the latest insider news and information for your favorite college sports team? Subscribe now to the ACC Sports Journal magazines. Our ACC Sports Journal magazines are filled with extensive detail on each team for football, basketball, and recruiting. It's a must-buy for every fan of the Tar Heels, Blue Devils, Wolfpack, Demon Deacons, and the rest of the ACC. Subscribe now and save 40% off the cover price. That's a full year's subscription for just $24. Be sure to subscribe now to receive our 2018 ACC Basketball Recruiting Guide. As a subscriber, you'll get your copy before it hits the newsstands. Ordering is fast and easy too. Just go to ACCsports.com right now and click on the big yellow Subscribe Now button. Don't miss out on this offer. Go to ACCsports.com now and click on the Subscribe Now button.
It's
that time of year when you need to be sure your heating system is running properly for your comfort and to reduce your energy bills. Fields Plumbing and Heating has served Moore County since 1948, when its founder, J. Ellis Fields, started providing heating services to residents and local hotels. Today, Fields Plumbing and Heating continues to provide you the best customer service at the best possible price. Fields Plumbing and Heating, the company with the most experience. Call 910-949-3232. 949-3232.
We'll see deep blue skies and sunshine around the area today, and temperatures will warm a little more than yesterday. Still cold, though, with highs 30 to 35. Overnight tonight, clear in the evening, and then an increase in clouds later with lows in the teens. Temperatures may be rising a bit toward morning. We'll see cloudy skies for the most part Wednesday, and we could see some bands of flurries or light snow showers develop midday into the afternoon. Best chances from around I-95 eastward. We'll have highs about 34 to 39. I'm Mike Moss in the Weather Center.
This hour of the Chris Plant Show is brought to you by Champion Car Wash on OUS 1 in downtown Southern Pines. Clean, fast, friendly, and free with every 10th wash. Check out our new look.
What, is it the new year again? How does this keep happening? Oh, wait, we're on. Holy cannoli! It's 2018 already. And the world has gone mad. Well, perhaps not much more mad than it was just a few days ago, but a little, I'd say. With all of the wackiness, the chicanery going on here in this crazy little town, our nutty friends in the news media. Did you know that there is no liberal news media? Did you know that? Turns out that there is no liberal news media. When President Trump complains about the liberal news media, turns out he's wrong again because there is no liberal news media. I read that today in the papers. So it must be true. They got fact checkers and editors and highly paid journalists, correspondents, reporters, people with lofty titles. Turns out there is no liberal news media. Never mind the fact that CNN was pulling bong hits on New Year's Eve. Don Lemon was making out with some guy. You see Don Lemon? He was making out with a guy. Just, for the shock value. It's what they do. It's a TV station. They're trying desperately to get ratings. It's a sad and tragic demise of a former news organization. Now it's just a cable channel with lots of goofy stuff. And I'm not kidding, they had their anchor guy. He was really drunk, apparently, according to... apparently he's really drunk. And then one place they got these drunks and these guys making out because Kathy Griffin wasn't available, so they had to come up with something new and interesting. CNN, my alma mater. I'm so proud. And it's like being a graduate of UC Berkeley or something. It's like, well, it was good when I went there, something like that. And then they go to Colorado, where they have a reporterette who's got a gas mask bong. These gas. Everybody used to have one of those, right? Gas mask bong. They've got and the reporter is lighting the bong hits and these various tube pipes, lighting them up for the people, and they're all giggling and going, yeah, man, I'm getting a contact high, and Don Lemon's over here chugging whatever out of a boot or something and making out with guys, and Wolf Blitzer's doing the songbook of 2017, and it was, boy, it's like, waiting for Michael Bublé to come down from the ceiling with wings. It was truly embarrassing. But an article today says that President Trump can't be right about the liberal news media going after him because there is no liberal news media, no such thing as a liberal news media, as any school child will tell you. Nothing like that. It's an amazing time to be alive. The New York Times has buttoned down a story. Occasionally they accidentally stumble across a little bit of journalism. They find out that the Post is going to do it, so they race them to the finish line, something like that. See it on the Daily Caller or someplace else, and they pursue it a little bit. Prominent Democratic donors gave at least $700,000 to women's rights lawyer Lisa Bloom. That's a generous depiction of what Lisa Bloom is, the daughter of Gloria Allred. She's a left-wing activist nut with no credibility whatsoever, but that puts her in good with the Democrat Party and the news media. But I repeat myself. $700,000 to women's rights lawyer Lisa Bloom in the final stretch of the 2016 presidential race as she sought to publicize sexual misconduct allegations against Donald Trump, according to the New York Times. The story is in The Hill out of Washington, D.C. American Bridge, a group associated with Democratic operatives and Hillary Clinton ally David Brock, gave $200,000 to the effort, sources told The Times. Fashion entrepreneur Susie Tompkins Buell, a longtime donor to Brock, gave Bloom another $500,000. See this? They're funneling money because it's the smear. It's the art of the smear. It's what they do. They're funneling money to sleazy lawyers so that they can pay, and we've already learned that Lisa Bloom was looking to pay money to women who would come forward and say terrible things about President Trump, because it's a sleazy, slimy business. There's politics and media business. They're essentially inseparable at this point, filled with sleazy, slimy people who do the wrong thing for the wrong reasons and often get away with it. But that's just a little story, a little sample. I've been out, of course, for a few days. I didn't have that much time off, but I had a week off, and plus yesterday, and went to Atlanta with my best girl, spent some time with her wonderful family just outside of Atlanta, where it's God, guns, and Trump every day, and Christmas Day is included. We were up late having a good time on Christmas, and the next morning woke up to the sound of gunfire off in the not too distant range, and turns out that some of the relatives were out there because it's Christmas, so you got some new gun stuff. And it's Trump. We had, what do we have? I think 32 people at dinner on Christmas night, 31 Trump voters. Well, maybe that's a little unfair because there were a couple of kids. There was one non-Trump voter, one Hillary voter, in a house full of people, one. How about, no, and she was fine, actually. She was very pleasant. She was all smiles, and, when you're outnumbered like that, that's that. Well, a great deal to cover since I've been gone for a little while. President Trump on Iran and North Korea, an uprising taking place in Iran right now, and President Trump doing the right thing as opposed to what President Obama did. And it's funny, the news media, remember in 2009 there was an uprising and President Obama was so desperate to make sure that the world's leading state sponsors of terrorism got an arsenal of nuclear weapons to mount atop their ICBMs, that Barack Obama didn't say anything when people were being gunned down in the streets by the troglodytes in charge of the once great country of Iran. And President Obama just sat there on his hands, lips, zipped it, had nothing to say. Go ahead and kill them all. We don't care. Just repress them because put down this uprising. It was the Obama administration. And now President Trump has jumped in, and he's on the side of people that are starved for freedom, for human liberty, because that's what America is supposed to be. And it's pretty obvious for anyone who grew up in America. But it wasn't for Barack Obama, for Susan Rice, or for Valerie Jarrett was born in Iran. Barack Obama's right-hand man. I think she's still shacked up at his house, one of his mansions over here off of Embassy Row in the shadow of the mosque, the main mosque in Washington, D.C., blocks from the Clintons' multi-million-dollar mansion. They're simple people. They're of the people. They're people of the earth. That's their regular people. Just like they're billionaires. You see, Jeff Bezos, he owns the Washington Post. He bought it like some people would buy a bucket of chicken, at Kentucky Fried. He bought the Post as a little novelty thing. It's like a cufflink for him owning the Washington Post. Jeff Bezos, apparently a big Democrat. He's a big Democrat supporter, and he owns Amazon, and he's the richest man in the world. He's the richest man in the world, hovering at about $100 billion or so. Pretty good money if that's the best you can do. Jeff Bezos, and it's good to be a Democrat. This is one of these good to be a Democrat situations. Jeff Bezos made $34.2 billion last year. Pretty good. I wonder what he paid in taxes. You think his secretary paid more in taxes, paid higher tax rate than him? No, because that's all a big lie being peddled by Democrats. Mark Zuckerberg, another dedicated Democrat, he thinks he's going to run for president, this guy, with his little black T-shirt. And he made $22.6 billion last year. Now, and they're Democrats, so it's not a problem. Don't worry about wealth disparity when it's Democrats on the high end there, because they give lots of money to the Democrat Party, Democrat causes, Democrat politicians. Therefore, they don't have anybody to wage war against them. See, the Koch brothers, they're libertarians. So they give money to causes of liberty, human liberty, freedom. And the Democrats attack them, naturally. Yeah, 22, the Marky Zuckerberg. Yeah, just think about that for a second. It's $34.2 billion for Jeff Bezos, Democrat in good standing, owner of the Washington Post. The $0.2 billion, that's $200 million. You know, for most dynastic families, that would be enough money right there, $200 million. At their zenith, the Kennedy family, corrupt bootlegging money, organized crime money, the Kennedy family, old Big Joe there, about $300 million at their peak. That's tip money for these guys. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be it's good to be a Democrat, isn't it? It's good stuff. And oh boy. There's this movie out now called The Post. You're familiar with this? It's called The Post. It's about the Washington Post and the Pentagon Papers, which is kind of crazy because the Pentagon Papers story was a New York Times story, not a Washington Post story. Daniel Ellsberg, the lefty that leaked the highly classified Pentagon Papers to the New York Times, did so in 1971. I think we've got an audio soundbite on this, as a matter of fact. Yes, we do. We have an audio soundbite on this. It's from, number 4. Let's go to soundbite number 4. Daniel Ellsberg, this is another good to be a Democrat situation here. Steven Spielberg, right, made the movie. He patches together some film pretty well. He's a good filmmaker. You got your Saving Private Ryan and E.T. and a couple other things like that. And he's done well for himself. He's, I think it was a hyper-rich, private airliner, giant yacht category of person. And, of course, a friend of the Democrats. And, therefore, he's on the side of the angels when it comes to all these matters. And it made this movie with Tom Hanks as playing the role of Jason Robards, and Meryl Streep playing the role of the woman that inherited the Washington Post after working, 0 days to earn the position. And it's a great glorification of the Washington Post and their wonderful work during the Nixon administration, the exposure in 1971 of the Pentagon Papers. And the great thing about this is if you're a Democrat, you see, the villain of this movie is Richard Nixon. Right? Now, here's the funny thing about the Pentagon Papers. They never mention Richard Nixon. They never mention the Nixon administration. In fact, the Pentagon Papers have to do with classified U.S. documents ranging from 1945 to 1967. Now, Richard Nixon was elected in November of 1968, sworn in January of 1969 for his first term as President of the United States. So the Pentagon Papers are all about how the left, JFK and LBJ, lied to the American people. And lied and lied and lied and systematically lied to the American people. That's what the Pentagon Papers exposed. But the movie is about how Nixon is the villain. Nixon is the bad guy. Nixon, these classified documents, 7,000 pages of classified documents leaked by a lefty to the New York Times, exposed wrongdoing by JFK and LBJ, not by Richard Nixon. But that's not what the movie's about. See, Richard Nixon said, well, wait a minute, you can't just hand over thousands of highly classified documents to the New York Times, so he contested it in court. Right? And that's why he's the villain here. Now, he was actually, what he was doing was protecting the reputations of LBJ and JFK, who, again, are both Democrats. Now, let's go to this soundbite. Here is Tom Hanks playing the role of Jason Robards, playing the role of Ben Bradley, the then editor of the Washington Post. And listen to the, historical accuracy is not really Hollywood's bag.
The Times says 7,000 pages detailing how the White House has been lying about the Vietnam War for 30 years.
30 years?
They lied. Those days have to be over.
Yeah, the way he lied. Those days have to be over. Those days are over. LBJ was gone. JFK was shot by a communist and killed. And I'm sorry, 30 years? So going back to 1941, we were lying about that's what it says, for 30 years. That the American people have been lied to for 30 years by the government. And it's 1971 they were released. So 1941, FDR was lying to us about Vietnam?
The Times says 7,000 pages detailing how the White House has been lying about the Vietnam War for 30 years.
For 30 years. It's going back to 1941. The lies are that Harry Truman then lied to us about the Vietnam War after FDR lied to us about the Vietnam War, and then Eisenhower apparently lied to us about the Vietnam War, and then, well, let's leave out Kennedy and JFK and LBJ because they,